My name is Rulon Dye, and my birthday is the 7th of May, 1931. I was born. So I'm 91 now. And me and the barn are the same age. The barn was built in 1931. They had built the house where Leor is at in 1930. I think it cost my dad very little. I think he got the lumber for free because it came from lumber from the old Uinta canning factory. Well, I think they built in just a few months. There is no concrete or rock foundation under that. That's why it's settled and bent in different shapes. They used old railroad ties as a foundation, and so the ties are rotted out now, and the barn is settled and bent and leaned. And when in the early years it was put in there as loose hay, just thrown in with a pitchfork, but then years later they got a baling machine, and so it was put in there in bales. There was a beam that went out beyond the north end of the barn. It was originally made so they used to have trolleys where they could lift up the bundles of hay with a big fork, and then they'd have a horse hooked to a cable that would pull that hay up, and then it'd go up and then it'd go across, and then you could, when it got inside the barn, then you could dump it wherever you wanted in the barn. So that never got put in, but I remember my dad used to have some of the rails and the trolley and the cables for that, but it never got installed. But they did use the cable out front for butchering animals and that, so pigs and cows and sheep. And this is Gayla Lloyd Dye. I've been married to her for 62 years.
63.
63 years this year.
It'll be 64 in November.
So I met her in 1956 and I married her in 1958.
We have 6 kids, 5 daughters, 1 son, but the son ruled the roost.
We met at a U-Day dance. Back in the earlier years, they used to raise a lot of grain. And my dad had his own threshing machine. He threshed his own grain here, and he'd go around Uinta and thresh the neighbor's grain. And well, I go way back as a kid. I remember it, probably the first thing I remember is playing in the hay a little bit. And I remember the cows being here on the shed's gone now, but Dad used to keep the cows down there, and he'd come down night and morning and milk them. When I was in high school, I built a ring for a basketball, and I hung it up there on the side of the barn, and I played a lot of basketball right down here in this little area here, so it helped me be a good shot. This is the chicken coop that my dad built. He built a pig pen over here. He helped build the barn. He helped build the house. So my dad was quite a guy. He liked to build things. Before my dad got one of these tractors, we had a team of horses, and their name was Nancy and Jocko. We used to cut hay, plow, rake hay, haul hay in the wagon with the horses pulling, cultivate the orchard with the horses. I've got 4 of these tractors, and the one that we bought is at home now. There's enough turns of water for this farm to go about 24 hours, so it's a full day, so you water all day and you water all night. So you do that every week, every Tuesday. And it's been, the water turn has been on Tuesday ever since I was a little kid. So what you do, you turn the water on the field where you want it to go. And if you don't move the water occasionally, you're wasting water because it only runs so far and then it soaks in. So you got to move it to another place. So I usually do it for 1 hour and then move it to another place, or sometimes 2 hours and then move it to another place. So I usually just come back to the house after I move the water and take it easy for a while and watch the clock, and then when it's time I go back down and change the water again. Well, I've run into skunks and raccoons. I have been chased by a raccoon because I don't really like raccoons or skunks. So one time I hit a raccoon with a shovel and it made it mad and it come after me. And so I took off running. So thank goodness I could outrun the raccoon. But I'm the 4th generation here. Me and my dad and my grandfather were all born in Uinta, and my great-grandfather came from England. So, and now there's my son, my son's son, and my son's son's son. So I have 4 generations living here in Uinta now. So 7 generations has lived here in Uinta. So, and they first came in 1862.